Hello, everyone. Welcome to YBMcast, powered by Game 7 Baseball. We are making do with what we have today, so here we go. I'm at home. We got a little snow on the ground, but we are still working. Got Coach Tim McElligott joining us from Blue Springs High School, defending Class 6 state champs. We're going to take a look at his program today. Coach, appreciate you joining us.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me. I look forward to this.
Absolutely. First time we really got to talk a little bit was this last year at the state championships. We met a little bit at when we did the roundtable with Coach Stiegel.
Yeah, that was kind of neat, getting to know you guys, and it kind of worked out for us to get to see you in June, after that game against Lafayette. So that was a lot of fun.
It was. Talk to us about last year. Was that an expectation?
Yes. You don't want to be too confident. But when I spoke at the Missouri Clinic, our year started when we lost to Nixa, and that was a game that our kids thought we should have won, especially with Cole Gibbler on the mound, and it motivated them. Our motto for 24 was unfinished. And you know how it goes. The ball bounces funny, an air here, an air there. But our expectation, was not only to get there, but to win. And when you have, that core group of Cole and Nick and Lincoln Stevenson, Drew McConnell, and that group, you hate to sound confident, but I think anything short of that they would have been very disappointed, especially how it ended in 23.
Right. I think that's an interesting scenario when you start looking at a opportunity. It's hard with these young kids sometimes to get them to come back to that and go, hey, this is how we overcome that, and are able to do that.
Correct. And as a staff, we were kind of talking, after it all happened, what happened if we would have, beat Nixa and got to that Final Four? The drive's always there, with that group, but would it have been the same? Because, your goal every year is a conference, a district championship, and to get to that Final Four and win, but if we would have got there, would they have been as determined like they were? And with that group, that was just such a special group, that we had. It's a once in a career type of senior group. So you just never know how it would have changed, with losing to that game to Nixa and getting there compared to getting back. Because it's hard. I mean, Ryan Stiegel's a good friend of mine. He won it back to back and got there third year, which is almost unheard of. What he did, and he and I talked, daily about the grind and what it takes to get there, and then to do it again, and then for him to do it again. But you just never know what would have happened if we'd won that game.
It does take a special group of kids, because at 17 and 18 years old, are you mature enough to handle that kind of pressure?
Yeah, and that's it, and we've talked about this, and you have a 6-hour semifinal, with 2 rain delays, and the conditions are horrible, and you've got one of the best pitchers, not only in the state but the Midwest, who throws 2 innings, and how do those guys see, your leader of the team, having to get out of the game and go to first, and that's just a testament, to Nick coming in throwing 5 innings, and to Lincoln coming up with big at bat, and And, to be able to maneuver just that game, that just shows, the drive they had. And, it was, I think we talked on your podcast after the game, and I think he asked Cole a question, what was your motivation? And I never knew that till he said it that day. He said it was a ring. And I was like, wow, and that's our whole goal. But, for him to carry that, and I'd like to say when he answered that question, I never knew that was it. But they wanted that ring so bad, it didn't matter.
I think that's an interesting scenario when you look at the landscape today and a young man like Cole Gibbler, who is now at Arkansas, has a big future. I think, this young man can pitch, but to take that mindset into a senior year, it's about the ring. I want to go get this win. Sometimes people are whispering in the ear, keep your innings down, don't get yourself hurt, bigger picture, look towards the future. And when he did answer that, that was unique. I think it really is.
Yeah, he has, and I've told people this, when we're talking to scouts throughout the spring, yeah, he's talented, but he had that it factor that you don't see in an 18-year-old. I mean, that's something, it might be developed over time, as you go through the minor leagues and finally get there. But he had that as an 18-year-old, which, we've had great players, Nick Tepish and Chris Johnson, they made it, Kyle Barbeck, and what separated him, they were all talented and they had that drive, but Cole just kicked it into a different gear. And that's why his future is so bright, moving forward that, I can't wait to watch him and see what happens at Arkansas. And, I'm kind of biased, but, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to get that chance to make a career out of this.
Yeah, I was looking at the roster for Arkansas. There's three kids: Reese Robinette, Tate McGuire, of course, from Liberty North, and Cole Gibbler, all on this squad now. And tremendous players. You look at those three guys from the state of Missouri, and it really shows you how high level the talent is here.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. This is my 31st year, and I think just in Kansas City, I've never seen the talent like it has, especially the last 2 years. When you make the decision to bring three freshmen up and play them, it's like, okay, our future's good. But then you start playing other people. Stiegel had three, Blue Spring South had three, Jay Meyer had three, Ray Peck had three, Staley had three. And, it's here in Kansas City, it has just been, a grind, for a 36 game schedule and then to continue on because the talent has just been so good here and then throughout the state, with what Coach Perk has over at Howell and Jeff City's got the Martin kid. It's just booming here, in the state of Missouri.
Absolutely. Coach, you finished, I believe you guys were 28-11, and you went through the gauntlet of, you're in the Kansas City Suburban Gold, correct?
Yeah, we're the big conference up here.
And that's Blue Spring South, Liberty North, Liberty,
No, Ray Peck and Lee Summit West.
and Lee Summit West. Okay. So it's you guys, Blue Spring South, Liberty North, Ray
Lee Summit
Peck,
West and Ray Peck. Yeah.
and Lee Summit West. Okay. So good luck with all that.
Well, it's changed this year. We've added three more, so it changes every 2 years. This year, we've added Staley, Lee Summit, and Lee Summit North. So now we're back to eight.
You're back to
So
8
that's
in the conference.
in the conference. Yes,
So is it
yes.
still the
So now,
5?
yeah, yeah, it's
Okay.
still the five. Uh, the last 2 years, it was the five of us, and then every 2 years it changes by enrollment. So this year we've added, three more because they bumped up with their enrollment with Lee Summit North, and Staley. So now
Okay.
there's eight of us, and for the next 2 years.
So in the KC Suburban, is there still the 5 divisions within the conference?
Yes, yeah. I mean, you have gold, blue, red, white. Liberty's in that second tier.
Silver.
And they're real close to bumping up in terms of enrollment.
So, how many of those schools are in your district now that you would be seeing?
Well, then that's the weird thing about that. It's south. That's it.
Yeah.
Our district, since we're so far east, I mean, and when I say so far east in terms of Kansas City, we go to mid Missouri, so that we get the likes of Battle, Hickman, Sedalia, Grain Valley, who is in a conference down, but is still 6A. They go to mid Missouri, so
Yeah, I
we only
noticed
see
that.
South. We only see the only conference district team we play is South. And then it kind of varies. Truman's been up, or I'm sorry, Win Crispin's been up. They've been back and forth. So it just kind of depends how that population of the school falls.
So, when you're playing your conference, do you look at those things as just playing games? How do you try and schedule your district teams that you know you're going to play on your schedule as well?
Well, I mean, and our first goal is to win conference. And, the last 2 years, having 5 teams, we got together and we played 3 game series. So we would go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, back to back. And that was, I think, that really set us up for the be able to withstand our district, a good Glendale team, and that Final Four run. Because you're seeing, I can't throw Kill Gibbler against Blue Spring South both times. So to win a conference, you better have 3 guys, because you're playing back to back to back. And then in terms of our district, uh, I don't play Rockbridge or Battle during the year. I do play Grain Valley because they're close. This year we're going to play Sedalia, and that's what makes it so hard when you go into that seeding meeting. If we get beat up in conference, that's going to affect your record and your seed, and somebody like Rockbridge and Tao, he's got to go travel everywhere. It's just a logistic thing with us. Um, you know, I I guess we could play on a weekend. I'd hate to take the kids out of school, and drive to Columbia for 1 game.
Right.
So we try. My administration's great, but I try to keep them happy by, not having to go to Columbia Day, Battle a day, and vice versa. And so it gets kind of hard when that seating meeting happens. That us and South and even Grain Valley, Ben's in the same boat. He doesn't play. He might play us in Grain Valley and maybe a Rock Bridge, but the other ones we just don't see during the year.
The cost of all those things, traveling and food for the kids, whatever the case may be, I don't know if people factor all those things in when you start putting together a schedule, correct?
Oh yeah, yeah. Even getting hotels. We used to go to the Capital City Classic. We did it 20 something years, and as the hotels go up, you could spend $2,400 in hotel rooms. My ID's great, my principal's great. Do what you want to do, but by the time you do that, that's your budget. And with hats going up and balls and shirts and food and when you make I told somebody the other day, winning is expensive. It's worth it, but by the time $6,000-7,000 in buses, you've got food, and it is very expensive, to keep a team going.
I'm looking at District 5 here. And
Sure.
for folks that don't know, Coach said Sedalia, that's Smith Cotton, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk with Coach Zimmerman uh, in a coach's preview. Looking forward to that. Met him down there. There's so much good baseball around here. Coach, let's talk about what you got coming up here. You lost a lot of guys. We know that. Here we are. You're resetting 2025. What do you got left in the cupboard?
uh, well, we're going to return five guys. And we've had a great off season. We're running anywhere from 60 to 80 kids twice a week. And that's been our motto this year. Last year was an anomaly. You're not going to go be Cole and Nick and Lincoln and Drew and Alex. We have to be ourselves. So the five guys we've got coming back, uh, got a lot of innings. We get Logan Kraft back, who's our catcher, caught every game, 319, handled the pitching staff, outstanding, great player. Carson Bushman, who was our right fielder last year, 9 hole. He's going to bounce up to the leadoff and play center. He batted 292 last year for us. Had some big hits, runs well. He's a leader. My son started 24 games for us last year. Had dealt with mono early, so he lost a good 3-4 weeks of the season early. So he played second for us. I'm going to slide him over to short. He batted 270, which that's great for who we saw, especially as a sophomore. But he's going to slide over short, probably be our 2 hole. We've got a kid, Jackson Trueblood, strong kid. He's a kid that caught for us. Logan had to miss a few games early. He had a home run against South to win the game as a sophomore. I wish we would have bounced him back and forth to JV, to get him some more at bats.
Yeah.
But he caught. He's going to slide over to third. He's going to be on the mound. And then we got a young man, Barrett Jones. He played. He had about 42 at bats for us. He's going to hit for power. Big kid. He's a basketball player. He's an athlete. But that's about it. And now we find the pieces. And it's interesting for us having all those seniors playing. All those juniors last year that will be seniors got a lot of at bats, and they got the experience. So they'll be ready. And our freshman class is really good. We can't really say anything without going through tryouts, but there's a couple of young men that I could see playing with us and playing a lot, which is good. So the future's good. We've just having to tell the kids, now it's your turn. You make your mark. Last year's
Mhm.
over. We can't be last year. You're not going to be those guys. Be yourselves. And with those 4 or 5 guys I just said, Jackson Connor, Logan Barrett, and Carson, the big thing they got from the last couple of years is they got to learn, how to work from and how to lead and from those guys. And that was more beneficial than everything. And they're ready to accept the challenge. I think we'll be okay at the plate. I think we'll defend it. Our problem's going to be we return 3 innings on the mound. But like I said, we've got those young kids that pitched. They
Yeah.
threw a lot of innings, but you and I both know making that jump, is
Mhm.
different. Tuesday, Thursday is different than Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. But
Yeah,
they've
and
been
you're
working
facing
hard.
Jackson Aiken, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
It's a whole
Jackson. I
different
mean,
world.
it's that gauntlet again. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we're going to take our lumps and, that's what we've been talking about. How do we learn from it? How do we get better? But like I said, these kids been getting after it since November, and I'm excited for them. Um, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and I think we're going to be okay. But it's not going to. Nothing's like last year.
Right.
That was just a special group.
So, talk to us about a few of the kids that you're looking at pitching wise. Where does that start for you?
Well, Jackson Trueblood, when I say power guy, he has some velocity to him. Big, strong kid, decent off speed. We've got a young man who's going to be a junior, Braden Gant. He's He threw a lot of innings JV. He's going to be some. I think he's going to be pretty good. We got a young man named Ben Reed. Ben's a 6'4", 6'5" kid. Pitches to contact, throws strikes. And that's what we want. We
Yeah.
don't have that guy that we can roll out 60, 70, 80 pitches. I mean, it might be a situation where instead of you're throwing once a week, we keep you at 40, 45, and you're throwing twice. Trying to
Mhm.
change that eye level, trying to change, arm slots, giving the hitters a different look. Um, we've got a freshman that I'm really excited about named Tanner Burt, 6'4" kid. Got a little velo to him. He's probably 83, 84 as a freshman now. He's an athlete, played football, played basketball. I'm anxious to see what he can bring, to the table. Another freshman named Graham McClure. He's a catcher, which, we're going to lose Logan in a year. And, he's low 80s from the mound, can spin it a little bit. If they can just, realize you just pitch to contact, we're going to play defense behind you. But, with that group, I think I'm excited for them. Like I
Mhm.
said, it's one of those. How are we going to handle, if we lose a couple, and that's
Yeah.
going to, that maturity process is going to have to be a little quicker than we'd like.
You talk about a catcher, and I think that is the most important role in baseball. But at high school, having that guy behind the plate that can really nail that down for you, take care of those pitchers, especially a young staff. You send a lot of people out. You're talking about some young guys. Where does that start, and how are you building up through the middle there? Who are we looking at defensively?
Well, with Logan is a leader. Logan is his demeanor never gets rattled. He's very calm. He's quiet. He goes about his business. I think he learned a lot last year,
Mhm.
catching those our big four. I think he's going to be a real mentor behind the plate for those kids. And our pitching coach, his name's Alex Duvall. He played for me, pitched at UCM. I mean, he's incredible. If I think that early he might call pitches. If he can dance with them, we call you got to make sure you dance with them. I think we'll be good. I think up the middle we're going to be real good with Logan Carson. My son, all of a sudden is almost 6'2" now. Can run a little bit. Decent, very good arm. Baseball IQ. So he's taken that leadership that he's, learned from Cole. Second base is kind of a question mark for us. We've got a couple juniors, I'm sorry, seniors. They got a lot of innings JV, great kids. Defensively up the middle, we're going to be good.
Mhm.
Especially with, of the five coming back, three of them are up the middle, which is really good. So,
Yeah.
it's finding that second base and that second baseman and then fitting the pieces around it.
Yeah, that's always the challenge. It's great when you got that kid behind the plate who has had that high level situation, because it takes a lot of pressure, I think, off of you as a coach, not always having to go out to those young guys on the mound, right?
Yeah. Yes. And like I said, with Logan's demeanor, I mean, he was in battle tested last year. And so he's seen it all. He can get with those youngsters and if something does go awry or, he will calm them down. He's like that leader on the field, that coach out there that we got. And I can't say enough of good things about him and what he did last year, and really excited to watch him, take over. And you can see it just, in the way in the classroom when they're all together. And, a lot of them are going to lunch together after school and, they kind of spearhead that up and, they're building that chemistry, the culture that was set. And we've had that culture for a long time. But establishing that new culture with all these new guys and Logan and Carson and my son Connor and Jackson are leading that charge and they've done a really good job so far. So like I said, I'm really excited to see all this come together and how they respond.
Talk. talking about culture, coach, you've got, your freshman JV, you got a lot of kids coming out. So, you'll have kids there and whatnot. How important is it to have those guys at that freshman JV level on the same page with you, building those kids to that moment?
It's huge. It really is. And we've been fortunate, with that group last year. They played varsity 4 and 3 years. And,
Mm-hmm.
this year, I think this year it'll be a lot more teaching, especially early. I mean, by you have a week of tryouts, you basically have 9 days of practice and then you're playing. And so, it's going to be, it's going to be more instructional than it has been in years past, just to, this is the way we need to do it, because we've always relied on that group, to set that standard. And it's just by the time those tryouts, it's you don't have much time, and so they're excited for it. Practice is probably going to be a little longer than normal, but that, especially with that freshman, you start it there. And and I always tell them when they come to camp, we have a ninth grade camp, and you guys are more important than anybody in the program because you're the building block of this. You're going to be here 4 years, so it starts when they show up in June for that camp. you know, Wear that T-shirt with pride, because you are the future of this program, because you're here longer than anybody. And fortunate enough, we've had some really good freshmen come through the last 7, 8, 9 years that have taken on that leadership role, especially early. So, and I'm kind of expecting that with Graham and Tanner. If they come out and do what I'm hoping they're going to do.
Offensively, coach, where are you seeing? I know you mentioned a few younger guys earlier that you've talking about, but with your seniors coming back and whatnot, where are you going to get your offense from?
It's going to be those top five guys. I mean, from Carson Connor, Logan, Jackson, Barrett. Those are the guys that have seen what we're going to see on a daily basis. Braden Gant. He's one of our pitchers, but he's going to be our first baseman. He can swing it. We've the couple of those. Jordan Peck is another kid that's got a little pop in him. He's vying for the second base spot. There's a young man, Brad Newton, who's a senior. We brought him up against Glendale to run, and he scored one of the two runs against Glendale. Uh, Fast kid. He's probably gonna, if the moon's aligned, like I think, gonna be in left. He could be that 9 hole. He's, probably more of a typical leadoff, but now we got two. So it's filling in. It's going to be, all our pitchers play a position, so it's going to be, how do you fit those pieces when Braden's pitching. Who's going to roll to first? When Jackson's pitching, who's going to roll to third? Carson Bushman is going to throw for us. He threw last summer and had a real good summer. When he throws, who's going to go to center? And that's going to be the key, is making all those pieces fit with not all the experience that we've had in the past.
That's interesting to hear because you got it's a bigger school, class 6, you got a lot of kids, but depth sometimes, you especially when you don't know where these kids are going to slot in or fit and they got to prove themselves. You got to give these kids an opportunity. And how do you do that? Where do you start that? Do you have like a 2 or 3 week window early in the season that you play a lot of kids?
Yeah, we play in this Metro leadoff up here. That's what we
Mm-hmm.
open with, and we use those 4 or 5 games to figure out where are we. And
Right.
like I said, you're not going to win every game. And I want games early, especially this year, to see, okay, who's going to take this over. And even though we don't bring a lot back, especially on the mound, we're looking for about 3 or 4 positions on the field, because we're all the 5 guys we get back, they're already slotted in. And but we have to have that depth. Luckily, though, that those guys are going to pitch, we can slide that kid over. Can he handle the velocity we're going to see? Can he handle, that off speed that you're going to see? Because again, it's different It's different than Tuesday, Thursday nights at the JV level. And we use those. We play in the first week, we open on a Friday. That first week from Friday to Friday, we play 6 games.
Oh, wow.
And so it's going to give us, a good chance to see where we're at, and not having those conference series last year. That first Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it was South, your crosstown rival, and so we had to pretty much stick with what we got. But this year we got those first in that first week, and I think we go 4 in the second week. So we're going to use these first couple weeks to see, okay, who can get it done, and JV opens early, so it might be, we might have a young man, he might get a varsity JV uniform, and we might have to bounce back and forth, to see where we're at, and like I said, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and but it's going to be trying to find that piece of the puzzle that's going to make them fit.
I love that thought process because, baseball has a spring training, and you have your tryouts. You don't have a huge long season. You're trying to cram all these games in, right? But you got to
Right,
give yourself an opportunity to learn about your team and who's that guy that's going to step up. I got to see this kid on the mound to see if he can handle it, right?
right. Right. And the cool thing is, that first week, 2 of our games are against teams out of South Dakota. They come in, they go over to Lawrence Free State. My buddy over there brings in a couple from Minnesota. They're getting out of the snow, so I mean, every game means something. But, okay, here's a different look, how can you handle this, and I don't know anything about those teams, so it's good to see them against somebody you don't know, and then the next time you might see them against a Lee Summit or somebody that you are familiar with, okay, because it could be two totally different teams. So as many games as we can get in early is kind of where we're at, especially this year, just to see where we're at. So that's the good thing about playing all these early.
Yeah, and your conference is no joke. Oh my
No,
gosh. And you added Lee
no,
Summit, who I think Lee Summit could surprise a lot of. I don't think they're going to sneak up on anybody this year.
no, no. Jim's got a lot of talent over there, a lot of returners. Staley's got 2 arms. Uh, the Piercy kid, he plays for my son's team in the summer that I help. He is just, lighting it up this winter. And turned himself into I think, a pretty big time prospect. They
Yeah,
got the young man going to Iowa. We didn't see him. We only played him once last year. But I'm hearing he's the real deal. The DeAndre up there, he's got some guys that can throw it.
yeah,
And that's the difference. The last few years, in the city up here, there were arms all over the place. With these last 2 classes that graduated last 2 years, and it's kind of tapered off. But you're going to see Tyler Wood. I hope Jay only throws them at us once. I saw the other day he hit 98 at that Premier Pro Day. Uh, so
good luck with that.
I'm gonna have to talk to Jay on that one. Jay, well, just one time, not two. So,
And the
but
Earlbeck kid, we saw him last year against Liberty North. He threw a shutout.
yeah,
I
yes,
mean,
and it's and that's your conference. I mean, it's just now we go back to these 2 games where you might play, West in March and then again in May. So, I'm like this. I'm gonna tell Jay, we don't need to see Wood twice, Jay. I mean, kind of just let somebody else see him. But yeah, he's a good dude. But
well, we're looking forward to it.
so
We're going to be at your house for that early Lee Summit West game. So
yeah,
on that Monday, I believe it's April 7th. There it is, April
yes,
7th.
yeah,
Trying to
that's
keep it
it.
all straight
Yeah,
in my
that'll be a lot
head.
of fun.
I'm looking
That'll
forward
be a
to
lot
it.
of fun.
And Coach, as always, man, thanks for your time.
Hey, I look forward to talking to you, Brian. I really do.
Absolutely.
And
We're looking forward to coming over. We're gonna have some fun when we get over there with Coach Tim McElligott. We had a great time last time. We're gonna try and get another coach's gig going on, and appreciate everything very much, Coach.
well, I appreciate you, Brian, what you guys do, and I'm glad you're starting to come up Kansas City and exposing the kids throughout the state. It's awesome, man. It really is.
We have fun. Good luck to you this year. We'll let the chips where they fall, whatever that is, right?
Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Folks, if you like what we're doing, please hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Hit the like. That helps the algorithm. We appreciate it. We love your support. Comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. Hitters, Coach, give them some advice.
Pitch to contact. Pitch to
That's good.
contact. It's an easy game. You hit it, you catch it, and you throw it.
We'll see y'all next time.